Welcome to my away day review of the 2021 season. Now, it was a strange one, wasn't it? We weren't allowed to travel to matches thanks to our constant companion COVID, but I wasn't going to let that stop my away days. All season, I did all my prep for every single League One away day, hunting down local breweries and the best pubs. The method in my madness was that when we were allowed back at games, I would have my prep already done so I could simply head off and enjoy my pre-planned pub crawl. And then Blackpool went and won promotion from League One to the Championship, so I'll have to start my research all over again for next season, but it's a nice problem to have. You can find detailed accounts of all my virtual away days on my blog at janestewart.co.uk, but today I'm going to rank them for you. I've ranked each away day using the following criteria. Number 1, rail fare from Blackpool. Number 2, pubage. I found good pubs everywhere because it's what I do, but how many and how good were they? Number 3, food, i.e. was there any? Was it any good, or was I eating Ponzi pizza for the sake of getting something down me? 4, pub animals, pub dogs, pub cats, etc. 5, quirkiness. For example, were there any dinosaurs? And 6, weekend worthiness, i.e. was there simply too much to take in during a few hours pre-match? I must reiterate that all these away days were good, with no miserable stewards, no torrential rain, no train delays, and no heavy defeats to dampen my spirits. As a Blackpool fan, I have again omitted Blackpool from the rankings because obviously it's everyone's favourite away day, plus I might be slightly biased. Will Lincoln retain their crown as League One away day champions? Watch on and find out where your club ranks. At 23, we have Wimbledon. Now, I chose Shepherd's Bush for pre-match pub crawlage, taking in Brewdog, Syndicum Social, which earned bonus points for the Fierce, Peach Fuzz, the Green, and Defector's Weld. The beer choice was good, but no animals nor quirkiness were encountered. I'll never go to London for a weekend because, frankly, I'm scared of it. But the main problem for Wimbledon was the whopping £370 midweek return rail fare. So, I'm sorry Wimbledon, it was a good away day, but not worth breaking the bank for during these difficult times. At 22, well, it's a big shock. Wigan. It's one of my favourite away days ever. But because I've been so many times before, I didn't go to my favourite old haunts. I went to some new places. Mainly because it's so hard to bypass my favourites in real life. So I thought I'd do it virtually. I focused on the breweries on this occasion: Wigan Brewhouse, Wiley Fox, Prospect and Mayflower. Post-match, I popped into some magnificent pubs, Real Crafty and Wigan Central. I know there is friendliness and quirkiness aplenty in Wigan, having previously been offered a swig of cider from the pocket of a homeless man and been shown a woman's giraffe tattoo out of nowhere. Wigan loses out on this occasion because its warmth simply cannot be replicated virtually. I'm very sorry, Wigan. At 21, we have Fleetwood. Now, can I just say I'm appalled at my scoring system for allowing Fleetwood to rank higher than Wigan. Wigan, you know I love you, and I nearly even moved there at one point because I love the place so much. And quite honestly, I hate myself right now. Rest assured, I'm already calling for an independent review. Frankly, Fleetwood are not bottom because it's the cheapest place to get to. I just hop on a tram. The pubs are hit and miss. There were no animals in sight, but Sid Little earns them quirkiness points. He runs the kitchen at the steamer. Other pubs visited were Brewery in Blackpool, Shipwreck in Cleveland, The Mount, Dead Ends and Strawberry Gardens. Obvs, I'm never going to go to Fleetwood for a weekender, but you might want to come to Blackpool when you're on the Fylde Coast. At 20, it's Crewe. It's a nice away day, Crewe. The location is handy for everyone. It only ranked so low because of the lack of quantity of excellent pubage, but the two it did have were fine pubs indeed. Tom's Tap and Brew House and Hop's Belgian-style cafe bar. The latter wins quirkiness points for its communal spectacles. Aside from dog biscuits, I was unable to hunt down any food on my virtual crawl, although I'm sure there must be some, and this was a big factor in Crewe's ranking. At 19, we have Aki. Now this is another shock. But it did rank so highly last year mainly because of the warmth of its people and the magnificent fan zone at the ground. Of course, this season, on a virtual trip with no people and no fan zone, Aki was always going to slip down the rankings. Big Clock Brewery was a cracking find. I also visited Grant Bar, Brewhouse and Pizzeria, Peel Park Hotel, which gets bonus points for the pub dog, and the Grey Horse with an actual pub horse. Now, not big on pizza, sorry Aki, and some proper northern grub could catapult you back up the rankings next time. At 18, it's Burton. Again, this is a huge surprise, as this is another of my favourite away days. So why so low? Well, obviously it scores high on the pubage front. Perhaps I ought to give this a higher weighting next season. I visited Burton Bridge Brewery, Marston's, DE14, a Nano Brewery that's a must visit, Tower Brewery, Burton Town Brewery, Gates Burton Brewery, Heritage Brewing Company and the National Brewery Centre. This is why they call the Brewers, guys. Again, because I've been here so many times and enjoyed the town's wonderful pubs and micropubs, I think the virtual crawl was lacking for the absence of these. I found no food, no animals and no quirkiness on this visit. But on the bright side, I also didn't encounter a miserable landlord, so swings and roundabouts. At 17, we have Swindon. Now, I'd never explored Swindon before, so I was interested to find what was there. I visited Hop Kettle Brewing Company, Arkell's Brewery, Rusty Garage Brewery, which offered currywurst with potato salad, Weybridge Steakhouse and Bar, the Tuppenny, the Hop Inn, which appears to promote putting children in cages, which I didn't disapprove of, the Little Hop with life drawing sessions for quirkiness points, and the old faithful Glue Pot. Swindon would have ranked higher but for the expensive rail fare at £109.40. I'm sorry to be missing them next season. At 16, it's Plymouth. Now, Plymouth loses points on rail fare at £196.60 return from Blackpool, although it gains some back for necessitating a weekend trip. Here I visited Bulletproof Brewery Tap House, Rome Brewing Co., Steel Brew Co., Summerskills Brewery, the Pub on the Hoe, which is opposite a lighthouse, Minerva Inn, the Crafty Half, the Fortescue, Artillery Arms, which won quirkiness points for its charity monkey racing, the Dolphin Hotel, which necessitates a visit only because of a frankly hilarious TripAdvisor review involving staff waving a poker in customers' faces, the Ferry House Inn, the Fisherman's Arms, which has a pub dog called Mr. Jones, who has his own Facebook page, the Lord High Admiral and Vessel Beer Shop. So there's plenty to go at in Plymouth. At 15, we have Bristol Rovers. Again, I would have ranked this higher if I hadn't been tied to this stupid scoring system, which I'm definitely having reviewed for next season. In Bristol, I found a ton of breweries, all with their own on-site bars. Indeed, it was here that I found one of my new favourite breweries, New Bristol, who brew exactly my kind of beers. For example, Chocolate Banana Milk Stout. I'm all over that. I also went to Bristol Beer Factory, Wiper and True, Good Chemistry Brewing, More Beer Co., Tapestry Brewing, Left-Handed Giant, Lost and Grounded, which gained quirkiness points for its retro German pop music, Arbour Ales, Dawkins Ales, Croft Ales, Fierce and Noble and 0 Degrees. Bristol ranks lower than expected owing to the £140.20 rail fare from Blackpool. I also failed to find much in the way of food and failed to visit the pub Kittens at the Bag and Nails. Bristol has the potential to score much higher and is a definite candidate for a weekender. At 14, it's Peterborough. Blimey, if Peterborough are ranking this low, who on earth are the top ranking away days? Peterborough loses points for no evidence of pub animals and weekend worthiness, despite us being booked in for a weekend here in the 1920 season before it was curtailed. This time around, I went to the Brewery Tap. I'm not fond of Oakham Ales, but they do good Thai food. Mile Tree Brewery, Bumble Inn, which had creme brulee milk stout, yum yum. Extreme Ales, Wonky Donkey, Froth Blowers, Palmerston Arms, the old Bateman's favourite, and of course the barge that is Charters, which earns quirkiness points for Peterborough. At 13 we have Shrewsbury. Now, before you start calling for a steward's enquiry, which I've already explained is going to happen, remember I said all League One away days are good away days. That is before you factor in the football, of course. So bear with me here. On my virtual visit, no quirkiness was observed. I visited Salopian Brewery, the Salopian Bar, which had Bathams on, which excited me greatly, the old post office, Tap and Can, which had wild beer Trillionaire, and a pub dog called Canye, Cross Foxes and the Prince of Wales. At 12, it's Charlton, where I opted for a pre-match pub crawl around Greenwich. I was determined to try and enjoy London more this season and found this much easier on a virtual visit than in real life. The rail fare wasn't bad on this occasion either at £58.50 return. The overground walk to Cannon Street was utterly delightful, without people, through some lovely gardens. The haunts I visited in Greenwich were Meantime Brewing Company, the Old Brewery, where I enjoyed a turkey, apricot and pistachio Scotch egg, the Gypsy Moth, which had more fierce peach fuzz, the Plume of Feathers, Pelton Arms, Spanish Galleon, which has a pub dog and a pub chippy, gaining pub animal food and quirkiness points in one fell swoop, Greenwich Tavern and the River Ale House. Following this crawl in real life could well make me fall in love with London for real. At 11 we have Oxford. At £101.80 on the train, on top of the taxi fare to the ground, this is never going to be a cheap day out. But boy, it's a good one. On this occasion, I visited Oxford Brewery, which has 8 beer glasses, Tap Social, Teardrop Concept Shop and Nano Pub, the Old Bookbinder's Ale House, Dog Friendly with a French menu, the Victoria, the Three Goats Heads and the Jam Factory. Top marks for food, pubbage and quirkiness for the Mounted Goats Heads. Into the top 10, we have Gillingham at number 10. It was recommended that I visit Rochester pre-match, so that's exactly what I did, virtually. I called in at the Eagle Tavern, Cooper's Arms, Thai restaurant Thai for Two. I had time as I was here for the weekend, and the 1050 from Victoria. I visited Rochester Castle and Cathedral before continuing my crawl at Who'd Have Thought It, a pub with a ladies' ukulele group. The Two Brewers, the Flipping Frog, Ram's Micro Pub 12 Degrees and the Dead Pigeon. With a dog and no shortage of food, this is weekender worthy. At £117.70, it's not cheap to get to from Blackpool, but it does look worth it. At 9, we have Northampton. Yes, that surprised me too. Now, I hadn't done Northampton properly in the past, and I really enjoyed my visit here this season. I went dressed as a seagull, as it was the last away day of the season. It was only £50.20 return, but the train times were weird, so I found myself going llama trekking while I waited for the pubs to open. My blogs have to be read to be believed. Remember, janestewart.co.uk. I continued on to Phipps Northampton Brewery Company, Thomas a Beckett with very exciting loaded chips, the Princess Alexandra Craft Beer Bar, St Giles Ale House, Albion Brewery Bar, Beer Gorilla, a bottle shop with a bar, the Market Tavern, the Wigan Pen and Mall Collective. Apart from the llamas, there were no animals in sight, otherwise Northampton could have finished higher. At 8, it's Milton Keynes Dons. Now, this odd little town will always get maximum points for quirkiness. Here I visited Concrete Cow Brewery, Black and Sun Brewing Company, Bucks Star Beer, Horns Brewery, which has 3 brewery goats called Herbie, Sooty and Dusty, Caldecott, a pub with a windmill in it, but sadly no sign of a little mouse with clogs on, MK Biergarten, Brewhouse and Kitchen, Brewdog, and Woburn Ale House. You won't go hungry in Milton Keynes, with lots of exciting food to be found in these pubs. If brewery goats weren't enough, extra quirkiness points come from a dinosaur that changes colour, a frog band, and robots that deliver the shopping round here. At only £30.80 return on the train from Blackpool, Milton Keynes is a quirky and a bargain day out. At 7, we have Sunderland. Now, this was an epic away day and could have ranked still higher had food not been almost impossible to come by. Plus, their fans kicked me off their Facebook group after we beat them twice, which I thought was a bit mean-baggy. At £134 for a return train, this is not a cheap day out. That Sunderland managed to rank so high is testament to how magnificent the place itself is. Thanks to Sean for the pub recommendations. I visited Fitzgerald's, the Dun Cow, the Ship Isis, the Saltgrass, Darwin Brewery, Vox Brewery, former shirt sponsors of Blackpool, and it was here I found a pub horse to ride to the next pub, Blues Micro Pub. The horse wouldn't fit in, so I sent him back with a crawler who was going in the opposite direction, and the Lighthouse, complete with pub dog. I then took a break from the pubbage to visit Roker Pier, which has a lighthouse on the end of it, which I found very exciting. I continued on to Harbour View and the Avenue, which had free black pudding on the bar. That was all the food I found before tucking into the magnificent Balti pies at the Stadium of Light. Definitely weekender worthy. At 6 is Hull. I already knew this to be a great away day, having done a stop over here 10 years ago. At £75.70, the rail fare was okay. Pub-wise, I visited Yorkshire Brew House, Atom Beers, which served patty butties with mushy peas and beef dripping popcorn. Tap House Brew Pub, Hop and Vine, bonus points for pub skeleton, Head of Steam, William Hawkes, a former gunmaker's shop, which is quirkier than quirky, Whalebone Inn, and finishing off at Victuals and Company Brewing Bottle Shop. Hull is definitely weekender worthy and could have ranked higher with a few pub animals. I expect Hull to rank highly again in the Championship next season. At 5, we have Ipswich. Yay, you got your top 6 finish after all. I have always wanted to spend more time in Ipswich to explore it properly. I haven't managed it to date because I know it takes about a week to get there and a week to get back. This season I did a virtual weekender and it was a belter. At £110.40 the rail fare wasn't cheap, but if you break it down minute by minute over the 2-week-long journey, it probably works out value for money. When I finally got there, I visited Briarbank Brewing Company, Big Drop Brewing Company, which is an alcohol-free brewery with an excellent selection, Hopsters, Three Wise Monkeys and St Jude's Brewery Tavern. Now the latter is a goth bar and is an absolute must visit on my next trip to Ipswich. I ended, of course, at the Fat Cat, where we always enjoy a Chinese takeaway banquet in the pub conservatory. Ipswich is a definite for a weekender and could have ranked even higher if there'd been an actual cat in the Fat Cat. At 4, it's Donny. At £52.60 for a return train trip, this was one of the cheapest. I began at the Draftsman Ale House, the micro pub on Donny Station. I love it here and it's always a treat when my train is delayed at Donny. Today I moved on to Doncaster Brewery and Tap, which hosts a German conversation evening and a ukulele club. Don Valley Brewery Tap, Salutation, which had Thai food, The Leopard, Marketplace Alehouse and Deli, and the Old Faithful Tut and Shive, where we're always assured of a warm welcome and a cracking jukebox. The absence of pub animals cost Donny the title this year. At 3, we have Lincoln, the reigning champions of my League One away days. I'm sorry, Lincoln, but you are still in the top 3 and there's been some very stiff competition this season. I visited Queen in the West, Bentley's Bar, Cardinal's Hat, Burton Road Chippy, where I made my own gravy to go on my chips, the Dog and Bone, Widow Cullen's Well, where steampunks are banned and I was ejected for smuggling in cockles, Morning Star, Beerheads, the Victoria, the Strugglers, which has got a chessboard table, Castle View Indian Cuisine, the Straight and Narrow, which is one of my favourite pubs in the whole wide world, Treaty of Commerce, Tiny Tavern, a new micro pub, Imp and Angel, less new micro pub, and the Golden Eagle. A weekend is compulsory to fit all that in. With excellent pubage, quirkiness and food, and mid-table in the rail fare rankings at £88.30, why did Lincoln not win? I can confirm that one solitary pub animal would have retained Lincoln's title, but there was sadly none to be seen on this occasion. Had I visited in real life, I might have seen a dog in Beerheads or in a shop window as I did last year, but alas, not on this occasion. At number 2, we have Portsmouth. Now, this is a surprise. You may recall Portsmouth finished bottom of my rankings last season. I did feel a bit mean-baggy about that, especially since I never went, as the season was curtailed before we got there. But I simply did not fancy the long trip to the south coast, which would have taken 7 hours each way. It seems I did Portsmouth a huge disservice, for which I now apologise. The £131.90 return rail fare from Blackpool is all that kept Portsmouth off the top spot this season. Once there, I visited the South Sea Brewing Company, which had Naga Chili Pork Crackling, staggeringly good brewery, a dinosaur-themed brewery with ace beer glasses, Urban Island Brewing Company, Irving & Co Brewers Limited, Brewhouse and Kitchen, The Hole in the Wall, a pub with its own sweet shop, the Old Customs House and the Merchant House. Now, what away day could possibly be better than one with brewery dinosaurs? Well, let's find out, shall we? At number 1, it's Rochdale. Now, Rochdale is a worthy winner with very high scores across the board, aided initially by its geographic location and costing only £22.10 return on the train from Blackpool. Only Aki and Fleetwood were cheaper. However, for this reason, it almost necessarily lost points on the weekend worthiness scale. Everywhere else, though, saw Rochdale come up trumps. If I could have given Rochdale bonus points for having to change at Wigan en route, I would have. Rochdale was my first ever away day in December 1991, and 30 years later I was going to do it justice. And Rochdale returned the favour in spades. I visited the Medicine Tap, which served banoffee waffles, the Pint Pot, a micropub with lush sausage rolls, the old post office alehouse with a dog and a real fire, the Baum with a huge roast dinner served in a Yorkshire pudding, and the pièce de résistance, Bombay Brew, a craft beer and Indian street food place that serves octopus masala. All boxes ticked. So there we have it, folks. We have a new League One away day champion. Congratulations, Rochdale. If you ever get a chance to visit Rochdale, please do, as it promises to be an epic away day. Right, now I'm off to review the championship. If anyone has any pubs, eateries, quirks or animals, especially dinosaurs, to recommend in championship towns and cities, please do let me know and I'll check them out and review them next season. But once again, a final well done to Rochdale. League Two, you're lucky to have them, but they'll be League One champions here at LCTV for at least another season, and hopefully many more seasons ahead. This review was based on my blog, which you can find at janestewart.co.uk. In my blog, I detail every home and away game, all the pubs I've been to, everything I've drank, what food's available, what quirks there are. It's very, very detailed. Meanwhile, I look forward to reviewing the championship away days next season. Bring it on.
Wake up, honey, I made you breakfast. Fresh coffee and bagels too. A new day is waiting for us. We got lots of fun stuff to do.